I'm Leather Rock. Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to talk to you about some interesting dynamics that happen when there's people that are in the public eye. They could be people you watch on TV, it could be the weatherman, it could be the people that do the news, it could be your rock stars that you see on MTV. It could be your famous sports heroes. It could be somebody that just got picked to be in the running for next year's pick your favorite sports team, and you become familiar with them. And but it's a one-sided relationship, and it's called parasocial relationships, and that's something that I want to talk about. It is, but I'm going to talk about it not from the perspective of the viewer. I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of the person who's the creator, the person in the public eye. And this can happen to the people that are known by millions and millions of people. This can be affecting people who only have like 1,000 followers, so you don't have to be a big shot for this to affect you. In parasocial relationships, where it gets tricky and where it gets uncomfortable for the creators is we part of what makes us appealing, or what makes anybody in the public eye appealing, is you feel a sense of, you projecting a sense of familiarity, and you're giving a feeling of comfort to people. And when you see them regularly, day in and day out, after months and years, you feel like you know that person, and they share different parts of themselves, and it might very well be a very accurate, what they're showing you at least is real, and you get the feeling that you know them. And sometimes you may never talk to most of these people who watch you, aside from comments on your social media or something, or sometimes people, they aren't on things like YouTube, but they're just like people on MTV, or people you see that are interviewed on television and something, and they might not necessarily, you might not have a way to have access to them, but you feel in your mind, the viewer feels in your mind that they know the people. And now what happens is, with today's technology, when you are able to be tracked down and people can talk to you, slide into your DMs, contact you. So many people have Twitter accounts. So many people are on Facebook, and you can actually, without being on a person's friends list, you can send messages to them in instant messenger. You can send private messages to somebody on Twitter, and a lot of times you will answer out of politeness because you have talked to a person in comments. And what a lot of things, what so many people who don't create content don't realize, is how much time, when you're creating full time, or when your art, what it is that people know you for, that is so, if that's your career, that is so consuming of your time. And not only what the public sees, but the time spent in preparation, the time spent in editing, in setting up things, so many technical things that take up more time for the people who are these public figures. And so if they have any time at all to respond to people, and especially if the people they're responding to are not people who they've known for decades, they're just people who have only, to their knowledge, known about them for like a month or two. And so you're talking to this person, just maybe, if you're talking to them at all, you're talking to them just to be polite, and then all of a sudden people may notice that you don't make any comments about anything that's personal about them, and it's like, whoa, this is where the parasocial bit comes in. Parasocial implies that it's one-sided, because of course it is. That's the point. The person, it's almost like the person who watches the public figure has this fantasy world where they could spend all this time thinking about this person, and you're watching this person, you hear this person day in and day out, and you feel like you know this person. And if you have talked in social media. You feel friendly, kind of like you know this person, but that doesn't. You're building this one-sided thing, and meanwhile, the person who's the content creator is taking so much time. Okay, I'm speaking with myself as a YouTuber, and with my daily uploads and everything, and my batch recording. Any given time, I could be on the fifth video that I've shot of the day, working on 2 or 3 hours of sleep. It's a very mentally demanding, time demanding gig, and if you throw into that the other real world responsibilities a person would have, in my case, it involves taking care of an old senior citizen, uh, you know, so I have responsibilities, but I do take this channel very seriously and making sure that I have a mix of content and trying to have it as high quality as I can make it given the technological limitations. You know, you work within your limitations, and my limitations are always in a state of flux. But there are ways to get things done and be as efficient as possible. But this parasocial relationship thing creates stress and sometimes even danger for the creators, for the public figures, because then all of a sudden the people on the other end, the people who consume our content, who watch us, who something will go off in their head and they'll realize that it's a one-sided relationship, but there really is no relationship, or that they build things up. Sometimes they'll end up having crushes on people or something, and when they realize that it's not being reciprocated, or the person really doesn't have the time to talk to you except for a very, very, very superficial way, which of course, like, if you have, as a creator, as a public figure, as somebody who is working hours and hours and hours every day, creating, doing the thing that you do, the music and the videos and what have you, and if I'm going to talk about the big issues and know about the lives of the people I'm talking to, they're probably going to be my good old friends who I've had for decades. In my case, the people in California who I love dearly, and are people who I've known a long time, and those are the people who I really do love them, and I care about them, and the limited time I have time for them. But when you are busy, just like any job, you don't have to be in a public eye, but if you're really busy with a job and you have a lot of commitments of your time, then it's unrealistic for other people to have expectations of you that you cannot fulfill. There's only so many hours in a day, and a person needs sleep, and if you're already sleep deprived, and then you're talking to people and they realize that it's a very superficial thing, because, like in my case, it's I care about the whole world. In On one hand, sure, I care about, like, with some terrible natural disaster happens in a faraway land, my heart goes out to those people. I care about that. I deeply care about that. Yes, obviously. And I support organizations that give money to spay and neuter cats and stuff, and I would donate money to that if I had it. So yes, I'm the kind of person that cares about things. But on a personal level, when people who I don't know or I've known as a screen name for a couple of weeks seem disappointed because I don't seem like I are paying enough attention to anybody except myself, because, well, actually right now, yes, I am primarily paying attention to myself, because I have this channel to run, and I have a senior citizen to take care of, and I really have only so much time to be emotionally invested in or caring about anybody outside of really myself and the limited uh, circle of people who I really, really have grown to care about. So that's going to, and I'm not the kind of person to ask personal questions of people, or just, if if it seems like I don't have anything to ask, it's because really uh, I'm busy probably doing show prep for my damn channel right now. So, but these parasocial relationships are really weird, because it leaves the creator the person in public eye vulnerable to, everybody has these high expectations and I'm just creating, and maybe it's better not to talk to people, at least in a one-on-one thing, especially if they're members of the opposite sex, or if you think that they're, that it just, it can be, it can make the person in the public eye feel a little bit uncomfortable, and you feel like, and as women, I think more is expected of us. If we're in the public eye, we're expected to share more of our personal lives when we're, if we're vlogging or if we're doing different artistic things that involve you showing something of yourself, something that's beyond just the end product of what it is you've created. The expectations don't seem to be the same for males. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are outlying uh, uh, examples that can be given, but for the most part, females, there is this cultural expectation, and it seems to go across countries of origin. It seems to be all, a male versus female thing. So, but this is something to keep in mind, whether you are a viewer or whether you are a creator, that when you are communicating with other people, or when you are just giving of your art, and people are going to be moved by it, and they're going to want to respond to that, or they're going to have things, I don't want to say built up in their head, because it sounds maybe like it could be taken as an arrogant way, but yes, I would guess it is. When I grew up, I thought of Walter Cronkite. He seemed like somebody that you knew in a way, because even though, yes, he was somebody that you saw when you turned on the TV, he was that familiarity, he was that comfort. Different weathermen that we've had in different state radio station, rather TV stations, there's just a sense of comfort and familiarity. And during wartime, listening to a president on the radio, don't you feel a sense of comfort in that? Don't you feel um, a sense of we're in this together, a sense of, but at least with somebody like the president, you don't feel like you know them. But a lot of people on TV, you do seem to get that feeling, and but just remember, it is one-sided, and especially when it comes to the expectations that viewers can have, and especially if it's members of the opposite sex. Not to saying that genuine friendships can't be started from the creator to the audience. I know from my showbiz days in California, I made friends when I was a stage dancer, and there's people in the audience that actually real bona fide friendships resulted. And I but anyway, that is the exception more than a rule. Now you have to think about keeping things professional, and you have to think about your physical safety, and it's but yeah, a lot of it is safety issues, and unfortunately, that's what's changed so much now, is the safety issues. With that said, keep in mind what parasocial relationships are, and it being one-sided, and what we perceive in our mind is how it determines what it is. Okay, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.